Dear my Dhamma friends, today I would like to shed some light in your mind about another sutra, which also can be found in Kosala Sanyutta, in Sanyutta Nikaya. This sutra is called Aiyaka Sutra. Aiyaka is a Pali word which means grandmother according to the Pali dictionary. So here I would like to share with you the story behind this sutra, which is mentioned in Attakatha. According to the Attakatha, the King Kosala's mother died when he was young, and his grandmother took care of him afterwards. Therefore, he adored his grandmother very much. When she was 120 years old, she passed away. So King Kosala was shocked and regretting by his grandmother's demise. After his grandmother's death, because he couldn't console himself, he made a visit to Lord Buddha for counseling. During that time, the Blessed One was in Jetavanaramaya, which was built by a leading money-lending merchant who was known as Anathapindika. This particular sutra based on the discussion had between Lord Buddha and King Kosala, and it is start this manner. Evam me sutang son ekamantang nisinnang ko rajanang pasenadi kosalang bhagava etadavocha. The King Kosala visited Lord Buddha in the midday, worshipped with utmost respect, and sat on one side. Then Lord Buddha asked King Kosala, "Dear King, from where are you coming in this midday?" Then King Kosala said, "Aiyaka me bante kalakata chinna udda mahallika." Dear Lord, my grandmother passed away. Over time she became very old and frail. She lived for 120 years. Dear Lord, she was extremely fond of me, amicable to me. Dear Lord, if I could have saved her from her demise by donating my elephant or horse, I would have done that too. If I could have saved her by donating a part of kingdom's village, I would have definitely done that too. If I could have saved her by donating more village in kingdom, I would have definitely done that too. Then the Blessed One said to the King Kosala, "Evametang Maharaja, Evametang Maharaja, Sabbe Satta Marna Dhamma Marna Pariyosana Marnang Anatita." Dear King, death is a natural thing for everyone, and our lives finally end up in death. No one can defeat death. Then King Kosala said, "Dear Lord, that's amazing. Death is a natural thing for everyone, and no one can defeat death." King Kosala was extremely pleased with Lord Buddha's reply and commended Lord Buddha. Then Lord Buddha said, "Dear King, this fundamental of death is similar to a clay pot which is designed by a potter, and nature of this clay pot is fragile. If it is fallen on the ground, it will scatter into pieces. Lifespans of this clay pot will end by falling on the ground and scatter into pieces. The Buddha further explained, all living beings end up dying. Life is subjected to death. There will be a rebirth, and next life depends on good and bad you have done in this life. If you have done good deeds, there will be a prosperous afterlife. And if you have done unwholesome deed, you may end up going to a hell after death. In order to have a prosperous afterlife, it's imperative to do good deeds in this life. Right? So, in Buddhist teaching, it's clearly mentioned that separation of loved ones and association with people those we don't like ends up with unsatisfactoriness or dukkha. The reality of our lives are that one day we have to give up everything. Material acquisitions is our concern in life. Then we get temporary satisfactions, and finally we get sad when we lose the ownership of things that we were really clinging or attached before. Right? So, what is the reason we get so sad, we cry, we stress when we loved one abandoned or departed us? It's very clear. Because of our detachment of loved one causes unsatisfactoriness or dukkha. That was the reason why Lord Buddha mentioned that piyehi vippayogo dukkho. It's so painful and sorrowful to get abandoned or separated by a loved one. Right? So now let's talk about the reasons of getting sad after separation from a loved one. Right? We know that we merge or combine with outside world through our senses, which are our eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and so on. Also we can get the mind. When these five senses connect with outside world, especially when we see image which is pleasant to our eye, when we hear a voice which is pleasant to our ear, taste which is pleasant to our tongue, feeling or touch which is pleasant to our body, and objects which are pleasant to our mind, we strongly perceive that the image is me. We strongly perceive that image is me, image is mine, and belongs to my soul. This is how the ordinary human mind works. That is why most of people remains much sorrowful, stressful, and discomfort manner. Right? So, how we are going to overcome this unsatisfactoriness or dukkha? So, when we talk about how to get rid of unsatisfactoriness or dukkha, it is very important to manage the objects, those you observe through your sensory faculties. The principle of management of these outside objects we observe through our sensory faculties control according to the aspect of Dhamma, which is impermanency. Whether we like or not, anything which is subjected to impermanence is impermanent. Therefore, we lose our loved ones by death, by abandoning us, getting together with someone else. Nowadays, we may lose our loved one by being a victim of an epidemic or a pandemic. Therefore, we must understand the magnitude of possibilities of losing a loved one in our lives. The more we think that 5 objects arising from our sensory faculties, outside image, noise, smell, taste and touch, are permanent, that they belongs to me, then we get unsatisfied and regret. So this is how we end up with unsatisfactoriness or suffering. So how do we overcome sadness of getting abandoned by a loved one? Why we get sad or sorrowful by separating from loved ones? We must understand it's because we recognize them before separation. If we haven't recognized the particular objects of image, voice, smell, taste and touch, if we haven't recognized these objects through our sensory faculties, if we didn't proceed our approach in an attached manner on these objects, we wouldn't have to be unsatisfactory or sad, which we must understand, right? So we must analyze from our wisdom. The separation from our loved ones becomes so unsatisfactory because we recognize them previously. By giving up the nature of attachment, we can overcome getting unsatisfactory or sadness. That's the way we can overcome, right? So then, how we are going to give up the nature of attachment, that's also important, right? We are basically inherited to unsatisfactoriness because the fundamental of the object we grasped from our favorite senses that we think are permanent, prosper, present and concept of mine, which means belongs to me, right? What we must understand is all objects arising from your sensory faculties we like and dislike is subjected to impermanence. It's imperative to think by wisdom that there is no value to this body we love so much, which is made of 4 fundamental aspects of physical reality, and there is nothing for us to like or dislike, right? And further, every object which comes into your mind through our senses is similar to a mirage. Objects arise through our senses are similar to a magic which is delusional. A wise person can effectively manage an object which comes into mind through a sensory faculties. Right? On the other hand, an unwise person is delusionally managed by objects come into mind through sensory faculties. Therefore, due to a lack of knowledge of the reality regarding objects, an unwise person always gets attached to objects arising through sensory faculties and end up with unsatisfactoriness or sadness. Right? Therefore, every object arises through our sensory faculties has to be carefully funded by our wisdom. If you are regretting on something, you must think by your wisdom that you are regretting on something which is actually doesn't exist, but to a mirage which is delusional. Right? So you should carefully analyze all the objects come into your mind. For an example, if you intend to commit suicide, think about the death and repercussions afterwards. Also, you have to think that is not the end of suffering. The best solution overcome unsatisfactoriness is to understand the concept of impermanency in our lives. Right? So, therefore, I think you got an idea about this sutra, what Buddha really want to explain. So, therefore, finally, be a person who is joyful and happy. Think about the precepts in Buddhism that you follow and practice and be happy. Practice more of recalling the qualities of the Buddha, recalling the quality of Dhamma and Sangha. Practice more loving kindness meditation. Be a compassionate towards all living beings. If you cultivate and practice these Buddhist methods, definitely you will be a joyful person and you will be understand separation from your loved one is an aspect of getting regret, but it is not a necessary reason to be regret at all. You really will understand this, and you can always recall the nature of the things that we call impermanency. So I think it's all about the sutra. May the Noble Triple Gem bless you all. Thank you so much.